First of all, let's pay homage to the lineage gurus, homage to the Venerable Monk Liao Ming, homage to Master Sakya Zengkong, homage to the 16 Dharma King Karmapa, and homage to His Holiness the 16th Karmapa, and homage to Master Tupten Torji, and to the three jewels of the altar, and homage to the main deity of Homa today, Ganapati. So, Simu, Tuten Siddhi Rinpoche, all Dharma masters, Dharma educators, Dharma teachers, Dharma lecturers, Dharma assistants, directors of temples and chapters, and all participants here, and all disciples watching over the internet. And our participating VIPs today are the Madam to Ambassador Daniel Liao, the Taipei rep to Norway and Sweden, Dharma Sister Judy, the Chief Secretary to the Taiwan government, Mr. Zheng Peifu, and Madam, the academian to the Academia Sinica, Professor Zhu Si-yi, and Madam, the accountant to Buddha Foundation, Dharma Sister Teresa and her husband, Mary, Law Advisor to Buddha School, Mr. Lu Wenxiang, and the DPP Party Cao Tun City candidate, Mayor candidate Mr. Lin and Madam, and the office manager of the DP Party, and through the school scholars group and medical group, and from Indonesia, the University of Indonesia, the distinguished archaeologist professor, Dr. Nur Hadi Magasari. And in parentheses, he's considered as a treasure in Indonesia. And the former director of the travel department of Indonesia, and also an archaeologist of Borobudur, Mr. Hari Wantolu, and Lieutenant General from Indonesia, Mr. Papahan, and from Atlanta City in America, Dr. Zhou Heng, and from Malaysia, the Datuk Kenneth Loy, Datin Zheng Mei Ting, and their daughter, Miss Li Qian. And from Malaysia, the Datuk Li Jin Xiong and Madam, and the rep to the council from Tainan City, and the wood sculptor Mr. Jian, and a notable entrepreneur businesswoman from Indonesia, Miss Gina,
my university same classmate 朱金水先生及夫人陈泽霞女士。华光功德会总会长及大圆满九次第喜金刚讲义及密宗道次第广论制作人莲月上师，主持人佩金师姐，道果圆觉经主持人莲海上师、莲呵上师、莲家上师。中天电视台给你点上心灯，制作人徐雅琪师姐。My sister 卢胜梅女士。感谢马来西亚陈维花师姐打斋10万元。甘慧勋师姐打斋10万元。大家安，大家好。
Good afternoon, everybody. How do you do?
大家好。你好，大家好。Selamat siang, selamat petang. 这个少子 ，Hola, amigo, que quiero mucho. Sawadika, kamsamida.
These are greetings in all different languages.
Good afternoon and normal. Konnichiwa.
We have so many announcements today.
这个下个礼拜天是吧？
Next Sunday.
下个礼拜天是教授这个密集经。
I will transmit the Buddha Dharma. Oh, it's Saturday.
下个礼拜六。
So next Saturday,
密集金刚的父母。
there would be Guya Samaya Homa, and I will transmit the Guya Samaya Tantra. And on Sunday, this Saturday. So this coming Saturday is Guya Samaya. And on Sunday, it's the Madhyamaka of Nagarjuna. And the ceremony will be held at the Linko Stadium. These two are two grand ceremonies. One is the Dharma transmission of Guya Samaya, and the next day is the Dharma teachings of Madhyamaka of Nagarjuna at Linko Stadium, Taiwan. And the Huangdi or Yellow Emperor Temple, there would be the Golden Face, Golden Mother lineage Dharma teaching on March 4th, 2018. It will be at the Yellow Emperor Temple in Taoyuan, Taiwan. And another one in Kaohsiung, that's April 8th, there would be Green Tara Dharma teaching. These are all announcements. And I would also like to help the True Buddha Boye,
是电子书啊，电子书。
which is for the electronic
招收
books,
会员，那么也是随
inviting
意
all
共
of
享
you to
啊
become
欢迎大家都成
members
为
with
生
voluntary
活活业
donation
障的会员。
so that
每
everyone
个
will
人随时都
become
可以看到
a club
这个
member
师
of
尊
the
的书
DB Boye,
啊，
and
你
you
要
can
查
read
什么
Grandmaster
都可以
books
查得到。
anytime, and you
那
can
么也是
search
随喜共享。
anything,
另外呢，
and
还有大
it's
正
all
文化出
voluntary.
版的很重要的4本
And
书，
the Tatan
一本
culture
书是
published
写
very
鬼
important
啊，
books,
一
4
本
of
书
them.
是鬼中之鬼。
One
第
is
3本
about
书是诡异，
the
第
ghost,
4本书是
book
鬼
number
的总本
258,
山。
and book number
那么鬼的总
262
本山也
is
已
about the
经
Queen
完
of
成，
all
我已经
lies,
写好。
and then the City of Ghost, and the last book is
刚好
the
是
headquarter of the ghost, and
农
I
历的
completed
1月1号，
writing them.
我把鬼的总本山
So on the
这
Chinese New
本
Year,
书给它完成。
I completed the book entitled The
那这4本
Headquarters
书
of
都
the
非常的
Ghost.
重要，
These
4
4
本书都非
books
常
are very
希望
important,
人手一本，
and I
才
hope
不会被迷惑。
that every one of you would have
另外，
all these 4
我
books
可
so
能
that
还要
you will
写
not go
第5本、
astray, you will not go deluded,
第6本、
deluded
第
by
7
the
本、
lies.
第8本、
And
第
I will
9本、
write
第10本。
maybe the 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, and the 10th book.
啊，这是宣扬鬼的，
These are books
宣扬
talking
这些
about
倒霉
ghosts,
鬼。
about the disastrous ghost.
那我今天呢，为什么要写那么多鬼的书啊？为什么要写？因为它影
Why?
响很大，
Why
影响很大。
am I writing so many
而且没
books
有办
about
法控
ghosts?
制，
Because the
等
ghosts
于是
had
没有办法
exert
去控制这些
bad
这
influence,
些
very
鬼怪，
bad
没有办法去
influence,
控制。
and they become
目前
uncontrollable.
世界上有很多的灾难，
And we have many calamities and disasters around the world.
有
And
很
when
多
I
灾难
perform
是跟这些没有办法控制的鬼有
my
关。
divination, it turned out that lots of these calamities were related to this uncontrollable
可
ghost. That's why I had to write it.
有恒心
I
跟
had to
毅
write
力。
about
你
them.
说什么没？我卢师尊
I
什么
may
都没
not
有，
have anything
我有的
except
就是恒心
perseverance and steadfastness.
那你不相信，你就看我的书就知道。
So if you don't believe it, you can read my books.
今天开始说法之前呢，先
So
讲一
prior
下
to the
法
Dharma teaching today, let me share a
这
joke
从来没有。
first. It's never happened before.
昨天呢，问一个大老板，现在的生意都不景气，大家
I
压力
asked
都很
the
大。
big boss,
你睡眠
the
怎么样？
economy is bad, everybody has
这个
a
大老板回答，
very stressful life.
像
How is your sleep?
婴儿般的睡眠，
And the
也
big
就是
boss
像
replied,
baby 一样
I
的睡眠。
sleep like a baby.
我说，哎呀，
And I
你
said,
不愧
wow,
是一个很高手耶，
you must
这样的
be
经济还能够睡得着。
incredible that you can still sleep
他
in
沉
this
默了
kind of
半晌
economy.
回答，
And he
你知道
felt
婴儿的睡眠是什么吗？
silent for a long time and
半
then
夜
said,
经常醒来，
do you know how
哭一
a
会儿
baby
再
sleeps?
睡一
You
会儿
know,
再
the
哭。
baby would wake up in the middle of the night and cry and then fall asleep again. and wake up again and cry and fall asleep again. We all know that the economy of the world is not so good. Most places are not that good. So I sigh too. About what?
真的经济都不好，情况都很糟糕的。我问香港的同门，香港说不好啊。
And I asked the fellow disciples from Hong Kong, how is Hong Kong not good and Singapore not good? And I asked the disciples from Indonesia, and they said, no, not good. And then I asked the one from Singapore, is it good? What was the score that I gave for Singapore?
30分啊！新加坡有那么坏吗？啊
？30?
40分啊
Was it that bad? 40. 40 is still not bad, although you need to have a score of 60 to pass. Which country is the best? Do you remember?
美国跟大陆
USA and China. Only these two countries.
大国真的很有差。
So there's a difference to be a big country. The big country often bully the small countries. The big fish eats the small fish, and the small fish eats the tiny shrimps, and the shrimps eats the mud. So that's how economy is about. So whom should you pray to in this bad economy? Red Jambala. This is a carrot. Red Jambala loves carrot most. He's holding on the carrot. It's red. So you make offering what Red Jambala loves most, and then Red Jambala will bestow riches upon you. And as a tantrika, to pray to Red Jambala to bestow riches upon you, you take a Vajra scepter and you place it on his head, because the Vajra scepter represents the Vajrapani or Vajrasattva. And once you place it on his head, then he has the pressure to spit out or to spew out the treasures that he has. So as a tantrika, you have to do that. And the mantra for Red Jambala is Om Ganapati Soha. And his mudra, that was the mantra, Om Ganapati Soha. And the mudra. So you join your fingers, interlace your fingers inward, and then you extend the pinkies that represents the elephant trunk, and then you rub the two of them slightly, that's to touch his heart. Just now, Ganapati descended 3 times upon Grandmaster's body. He came in and left and came and left and came and left 3 times. He descended 3 times. So his appearance is red body, the elephant head, 4 arms, and the first right hand is holding a carrot, and the second hand is holding the subduing scepter, and the first left hand is holding the carrot leaves, and the second hand is holding the mala or chanting beads. And the subjugating acts is to subjugate, and the carrot leaves has its own symbol. So he's counting the leaves of the carrot is to count the years of us. And the second hand is holding the chanting beads. So he's also chanting the Buddha's name or chanting mantra to teach us to cultivate spiritually. So he's standing on a blue treasure spewing mongoose or mouse. And they are red jambalas with 2 arms, 4 arms, or 6 arms, or 8 arms, or 12 arms. There are many different appearances of red jambala. In India, it's called Ganesh. It's a deity of Hinduism in India. So he is considered one of the 4 great gods of Hinduism. There are 4 great gods in India. One is the creator, Brahma. And the second is the destroyer, or Shiva, not Ganesh. Shiva, the destroyer. And the protector, Vishnu. And the 4th is the elephant trunk, elephant head, fortune god, Ganapati or Ganesh. So Ganapati and Saraswati are on very good terms. So Saraswati or Saraswati heaven or Deva and then the red jambala or Ganapati is the heaven of bliss, and then Shiva is Mahaswara heaven, and Brahma is the Brahma heaven, and Vishnu, the protector, is the Vishnu heaven. Those were the gods of India. These 5 gods were very famous. Typically, Buddhists don't put great importance on wealth and money, because the materialistic world is intrinsically empty. During the Dharma teaching and ceremony of Nagarjuna, I will explain it about emptiness or void, about superficiality and authenticity. So it is also empty and false and the middle way. So our human lives, the materialistic world, are intrinsically empty. There is nothing eternal or everlasting about it. In Christianity, we also talk about everlasting, eternal life. What is eternal life? Once you become a Buddha, then you have an eternal life. Only in the spiritual world it can be eternal. Only spirituality can be eternal. So in spiritual cultivation, if you can be eternal, then you have eternal life. So in terms of life and death, although you know that all materials are empty and false, but for us, in Buddhism, how do we view life and death? Because in Buddhism, we don't stress on life and death, because basically there is no life and death. And we don't need to be afraid of life and death. Because if you really have attainments or you have CD, then there is no life and no death. But people will ask, what is the phenomena of death? For me, death is when your soul leaves this dirty body to be in union or to merge with the utmost, because you were a part of this ultimate. As your soul leaves your dirty body and merge with the ultimate, that is called the eternal life. There is no use to this dirty body or this physical body, because the body doesn't listen to you. You may think that you can command your body. Like, see, I wave my left hand. See, I can command my body. And the right hand, waving and nodding my head, shaking my head. For us, the Chinese, if we nod our head, that means yes. If it's no, we would shake my head. But for the Indians, like this is yes. So, if he nods sideways, that means yes. So it's different from us. So, nodding sideways twice, that means yes. But for us, if we shake like this, that's no. And nodding my head, yes. See, I can control my body. But wait, can you control your high blood pressure? Can you control your blood sugar? Can you control your blood vessels? I say my eyesight's very good, I can see very far. That's true. But for some people, when they take off their eyeglasses, then, oh no. So can you control your eyes? Some people are deaf or they can't hear clearly. But Simu's hearing is topmost, number one. I made phone calls in a very far distance from her, in my room or inside the bathroom. And she's quite a distance from me. And she could still hear me. You were on the phone, so you must be talking to your girlfriend. I don't talk on the phone that much recently because I'm so busy with the ceremonies. I have no time for dates. It doesn't matter where I hide. Even when I hide in my closet, she can still hear me. Her hearing was really number one. Even when I talk softly, and she would know what I'm talking about. But my oral sense, my smell sense is very good. I can tell if something is good or not. So my olfactory was very good. But hers was bad. So that's why sometimes in the middle of the night I can tell if the gas stove is not closed yet, it's not turned off, and I would run to the kitchen and turn off the gas. She loves durian. And immediately I can tell, oh, you just ate durian. But the mice at my house can open the fridge. So when Hui Jun and Lian Yu stole the durian to eat, I could tell. But some things you can't control. Can you maintain your teeth to be really well, all of them? Sometimes you can't control your skin. You have skin allergies. Or when you sneeze and you catch cold, can you control it? No. When you cough, can you control it? No. And you can't also control life and death. But we have seen through life and death. Life and death, like life, like death. So for Sadaka, we really look beyond life and death. There is no life and death for us. Why? Because birth is false and death is also false or superficial. There is no birth and no death. And we don't care, we don't mind about birth and death. So our ex said that I will die at 73. I didn't feel anything. For a sadaka like me, when my time comes for me to leave the Saha world, I would feel it, I would know. My soul would know when it's time for me to go. I would know by myself when my soul will leave my dirty body and to merge with the Buddha and to become an eternal life. And second, secondly, at least a Buddha or Bodhisattva will descend carrying a red piece of paper saying at certain date and time you will die in a certain way and you will leave the world. The Yidam will descend carrying a red piece of paper, and on it will be written that you will leave samsara at a certain date and time. Then I would know ahead of time, and I would say goodbye to everybody, that I will leave the world at a certain day and time. And then it's best if I can be seated here and just kind of like move my body very naturally.
Go to the waste very happy Buddha country. Waste is 西方 very happy.
So West very happy.
Name country 也可以。
Buddha land or Buddha country. To go to the Buddha land of utmost bliss or the Western paradise. And then as soon as I close my eyes, my breathing stops and then I'll be gone. That would be best. We have so many great holy people that died sitting. And look at the 7th ground Bodhisattva. She died on the chair without any sicknesses. She cooked in the morning and she sat on a chair. And she felt that she's about to leave and she sat on the chair, and short after she stopped breathing and left. So Hanifa's mother immediately reached the 7th ground of Bodhisattvahood. So we should celebrate this kind of passing. Put on the firecrackers and congratulate and dance the Indian dances. There were some Indian dances inside the mantra chanting earlier. I really like Ganapati. I don't quite like him as much now because except that Ganapati is her body. That Ganapati sings and dances every day for XX and made offering of milk to her. So she was great. Hey, but I respect you, Ganapati, and so why don't you sing and dance for me? Why don't you make offering of milk to me? So I asked Ganapati, and he replied, let me ask him, Ganapati, did you sing for XX? Did you dance for X? Did you make offering of milk to X? Is that so? He replied, there's no such things. It's completely no such things. all her lies. It's just her lies. Balls. And even to the master, it didn't happen. So it turned out that she was just blowing her horns. It's not just a cow's horns. It's like a dinosaur's horns because her lies were just so huge, so horrendous. And Ganapati was very earnest. So let me ask you now. X predicted that I would die at 73, but I didn't. So now I would like to ask Ganapati, you're counting the leaves of carrots is to count my lifespan. So now let me ask you. So X was a real liar, I know that. But how long will I live to? Is it in the 70s? Is it in the 80s? No, he didn't want to tell. He told me, you know it yourself.
好，不用他算啦。你看哪有弟子算师父？说他的寿命73
How could there be a disciple predicting her own guru to die at a certain age? And she said that I will die at 73. And then you say 74. And then after 74, 75. And then you say that I will die at 76. How will you perform the prediction? Those were all just bullshits. So if you predict that I would die at 74, I would be happy. You know why? Because Confucius died at 73. See, the holy sage died at 73. So if I die at 73, I would be a holy person too. But in Chinese, homophone means something else. But Confucius was a true sage. And he passed away at 73. And I'm a homophone of the holy sage, which means a remainder. And if I die at 73, that would be okay. I'm not scared of it. Because death is just that your soul leaves your dirty body to merge with the utmost, the ultimate consciousness and to become an eternal life. As a true spiritual cultivator, you definitely have no fear for death.
今天跟大家谈一点那个，这里呢，中气完了以后就是临终，刚好是讲了半天的事，就是这个临终。临终的时候要辨别死障。
So now we are talking about the moment of death. So we can determine or differentiate the omens of death. Once you're determining the omens, you can continue to live. If you can't live anymore, then you can perform the transference of consciousness. So that's why there's the transference of consciousness by transforming the appearance, by guiding the spirit, and by sound. And there are so many topics about determining omens of death. And there's the fixed or the definite omens of death. and the broad omens of death and the outer omens of death is the omens that you encounter outside. And then also the outer redemption practice, the inner redemption practice, common and uncommon redemption. So if you have not reached the perfection stage at the time of death, and those guided to the higher realm will experience all kinds of signs of death. When the ways of redemption cannot turn it around, then one has to perform the transference of consciousness 1 month before the signs of death disappear. Otherwise, one will create the sin of murdering the yidam. So if you perform the transference of consciousness too early, within 1 month, you can perform the transference of consciousness. But beyond 1 month, you cannot perform it anymore. Because if you do, then it's the same as you're killing your own life, killing yourself. That's the same as killing your yidam. So transference of consciousness has to be done within 1 month after you have the omens of death. Then that would be normal. Otherwise, that would be wrong. That would be killing the yidam. You can use the lengthening of life first to extend your own life. You know, I read on these omens of death. It's very complicated. So they use the breathing through the nostrils to determine. I will not talk about this because it's too complicated. I will only talk about what my guru taught me. When you breathe all the way to the dantian, or even further to the sole of the feet, then you would live very long. But if you breathe like normal people, only to the throat, and then you exhale, then your life would be very short. So the longer, the deeper you breathe to dantian, or you exhale through the sole of your feet, then you would live a very long life. But if you breathe very shallowly, like just to the throat area, then you would live a short life. I will only talk about this. This is taught by my guru. So your breathing has to be fine, slow, and long. But at the moment of death, your breathing very fine, very slow, and very long, that's also sign of death. Normally, you have to breathe fine, slow, and long. But at the time of death, if you breathe slow, fine, and long, then that's about time to die. Or if you breathe like this, very short, then that's also very short and very coarse, then that's also, it's about time to die. Normally, you breathe very slow, long, and fine, but at the time of death, you would breathe very short and coarsely. At your sick bed, and you breathe very soft and weak and slow, that's also sign of death. That's what my guru said. And the rest, according to the Tibetans, there's so many explanations, extremely complicated and numerous. Typically, the methods of extending lifespan I have taught this before, is to entice the air to extend the life.
我以前讲过隐空性密法，还有人记得吗？对，那个是可以保持你的寿命再延续下去。
Then you can extend your life. If you know that it's your time to die and you want to avoid the death, the only method that's taught by my guru, it's taught by my guru, the only method is you lay on your bed and you use the straw mat to wrap around your own body. And then you lit a candle at your feet and one candle at your head. And you ask your family members to spray some rice on top of the straw mat. This can extend your life. What does it mean? When you know that you're about to die on a certain date, then you wrap the straw mat around your own body, and then you spray some rice on top of the straw mat, and you lit candle at your feet and on your head, and also you can put a bowl of rice and then put an incense stick on it. Then you would be able to extend your life. This was taught by my guru. This is the Dharma practice to extend your life. Very important. You know you're about to die, but you do this because when the spirits and the ghosts from the netherworld came to capture you, they thought that you were already buried. They will not be able to see you, the person, because you were already buried under the ground, because you're wrapped by the straw mat and with the rice on top of the mat. That meant that you have no breath anymore and you're already buried. And the candles lit at your feet and at your head, and a bowl of rice with an incense stick that symbolized that you're dead already and you're already buried. And when the ghosts came and could not see you, you could not be caught. That's why you would be able to extend your life. So that's this redemption or this life extension. I was taught by my guru, and please don't tell anybody else. So that's quite incredible. You knew that you were about to die, and you do that. And you could avoid the capture of the god of death. It's mentioned here. So if two nostrils and the mouth were used to breathe very heavily and forcefully, then you would die within half a day. So when you breathe very forcefully with two nostrils and mouth, then you know that this person will die within half a day. So if you breathe between the left and right nostrils, if you see a sick person and the two nostrils are not circulating, Sometimes when you breathe in from the right nostril, you would extend life, but if you breathe through the left nostril, you would die sooner. But if you breathe through the both nostrils, you would die within 10 days. So there are many ways to determine when one will die, where the breathing is going through the right or the left nostrils. The right nostril is to extend lifespan, and the left nostril is that you will die very soon. It's all explained here, all of this. Also have to check on the time. The 4th, 5, 6, 7, 4, 5, 6 day. If you breathe through the right nostril, or the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd day of the lunar month, you breathe through the left nostril. So it's good, and you can extend your life if you breathe through the left nostril on the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd day of the lunar month. It mentioned about these things. You can read carefully. To use the nostrils and the breathing to determine how long one will live before he dies. But the time is based on the Tibetan calendar, so that's why my guru did not explain it in details, because this was based on Tibetan calendar. If someone encounter obstructions before he died, then you use the time and date and time of birth to match about the stars or the constellation and the 7 signs. And if it is, one will die about 16 years later. It's very complicated. So this kind of signs of death is appearing in front of us, and you cannot extend the lifespan anymore, then the other signs of death, so when you have signs of death, but you cannot extend the lifespan anymore, so if the broad omens of death will appear, then it's impossible to extend the life. But the other ones, you can extend the lifespan. So whether you can extend or not, there are several different explanations. And then the outer signs of death. So if you dream of climbing the mountains, it has to be purple mining mountain, that's bad omen. Or you dream that you're wearing red clothes, that's also sign of death. Or if you dream of yourself picking red flowers, that's also sign of death. Or if you dream that you're holding a red chanting beads, or you're wearing it on your neck, that's also signs of death. or if you're walking on a red, remote land, that's also sign of death. Or if you go to a foreign country, like if you're in Taiwan and you dream of Africa, that's signs of death. So if you dream from a strange countries or unfamiliar countries, or if you dream of your own internal organs, or if you're riding on a monkey and going eastward, or if you're riding on a donkey and going northward, those were all signs of death. You can read carefully, it's all written in details. So, if you see the flowers in the sky wilting, that's sign of death. Or the lights of the eyes looking into the sky and all disperse, those are signs of death. And you often hear the sounds of dakinis. You usually hear the sounds of dakinis, but all of a sudden disappears. You can meditate normally, but all of a sudden it disappeared. And when all your behaviors and conducts are upside down, or the opposite, that's also signs of death. So if you have a certain routine, and then all of a sudden it's turned upside down, the other way around, and it lasts a long time, that's also sign of death. Like if you're usually a very fast in doing things and all of a sudden becomes very slow, that's also sign of death. Or if you're usually very calm and relaxed and all of a sudden you become very hurried, that's also sign of death. Or if you're usually very rough and tough and all of a sudden become very gentlemanly, or vice versa, they are all signs of death. And in the future, we will talk about the way to extend life. So the principal was talking, was giving a speech during a commencement, and then the principal looked at his script, and then the breeze blew away the script, and then the principal said, "That's all for today." So that's the sign of death of that speech. He was about to talk, to give a very long speech, and then with the blow of the wind, he did not have anything more to say. So that's the end of the speech. That's also sign of death. So someone's feet was painful and went to see a doctor, and the doctor said, "Call mom." And I was befuddled. Why do I have to call mom? And the doctor kept saying, "Call mom." And I don't know what's going on. And the doctor kept saying, "Call mom." So, and glared at me. So I said, "Oh, mom." And I was wondering about my birth. And the doctor said, actually it's a homophone in Chinese, like call your mom. It's actually meant like, is your feet numb? That's not a good joke. Today it's raining, and on the bus there was a lady getting on the bus and bearing her body, and she was trembling. And the bus is warm. And there was a lady, an elderly lady, said that, but do you have so many people as your blanket at home? Because she said the bus is warm like a blanket. So that's why your analogy sometimes has to be accurate. Nowadays, everybody play the cell phone. So if you swipe, or if you swipe the barcode on your cell phone, then you would know everything about your life history. And smartphones are really scary. You know why? If Grandmaster doesn't have a cell phone, you know why? If one day Grandmaster has a smartphone, you know, that's a sign of death. Because typically I have no cell phones. But if I have a smartphone and I play my smartphone day in, day out, then that's a sign of death. So for all these years, what has the smartphone missed? Oh, the smartphones have replaced television, telephones, and fax machines. And also watches, alarms, and counters, and then flashlights, camera, and then mirrors, newspapers, magazines, and games. And when you were young, calendars, diaries and notes, and also glasses, and also will destroy your eyes, shoulders, and your tongue, and also all interpersonal relationships and the future generations. Oh, that's so scary. So let me play myself smartphones now to calm myself. So it's quite scary to have cell phones, because the smartphones have changed your life. Grandmaster has no cell phones, so that's why Grandmaster's life is always stay the same. And one day, once I learned the smartphones and all the functions and the barcodes and the messagings, that's about time of death. That would be the omen of death. So the modern days are different from the ancient time. In the ancient time, the man of the Dasan said, so this is my mountain and this is my ocean. If you want to pass by, you have to pay the ransom. So that's like the heroes of the Liang Mountain. So after thousands of years, now we become so civilized and caring. that there is a toll in about 500 meters. Please slow down. It's actually the same concept. So today we talk about how to extend your life. And then in the future, I will talk about it more. And today, I share a secret, the life extension method that was taught by my guru. It's rarely known. Have you heard about it? That you wrap yourself with the straw mat, and then you sprinkle rice on top of it, and then you lit candles at your feet and on your head, above your head, and then put a bowl of rice with an incense stick on it. Then it will extend the life of that person. If you don't want to do that, you just let him die naturally, then check the breathing. And if he breathes through both nostrils and the mouth very forcefully, then he would die within half a day. Any sick person that would breathe through the two nostrils and the mouth, then they would die within half a day. And there was also a Dhamma practice in Kong Shi Ming Fa, the life extension by inviting the dawn. So at dawn, at the sunrise, you breathe in the sun through to your whole body. And at night, you look at the sun shine, look at the sun, and you breathe in. And this is the moonlight at night. And you breathe in the moon inside your body until it fills your whole body. That's also the way to extend your lifespan. So at dawn, breathe in the sun, and at night, breathe in the moon. Om Mani Padme Hum.